Good morning, students. Students, good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for joining today's session, where we'll be discussing life partnerships. But before we start, please let's remember the ground rules. Your mic must be muted, and only unmute if you want to say something or if you have a question. Before I start, I want to address the issue of recordings. Yeah? We are currently having a challenge with you students directly accessing the recordings or some recordings without getting access from me. The challenge is Microsoft has changed its policies, and with effect from August, if I'm not mistaken, the recordings are now no longer saved on Microsoft Streams, but they are saved on the OneDrive portal of the person who was recording the session, which is me. So at the present moment, there are some recordings which need me to grant access. So our ICT is trying to sort out that issue so that we can have universal access and I don't have to grant individual access. So for now, if there's a recording that you are struggling to access, please send me an email and I will grant you access. But we are trying to sort out this challenge so that you don't have to listen to the recordings without firstly waiting for me to grant you access. I really apologize for what is happening, but unfortunately, it's also beyond our control. It's something, the policy that Microsoft has now made, and yeah, for now I can say we just need to deal with whatever is happening. So I'm trying on a daily basis. I check my emails about 4 to 5 times, and just to make sure that if there's any students who have sent me an email, I just grant them access. So please just bear with us up until we have this challenge resolved. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. Now we can start with discussing life partnerships. To discuss this, firstly, I want to understand from you, students, when we talk about life partnership, what you understand. And when I say what you understand about it, like not just it's just two people, two unmarried people staying together, but what is it that you understand in terms of the law? What does the law say? We know that okay, let me not say we know, there are some people or some individuals who are under the assumptions that if you live with your partner for certain months or for a certain period, there are some legal rights or some legal obligations that come with living together. So before we start, I just want to understand from you, students, when we talk about life partnership, what is it that you understand about life partnerships? And yeah, let's hear from Precious Ndlovu. Precious Ndlovu, please unmute yourself. Precious, yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. What I understand about life partnership is when two people agree to live together, like like ne? But we're not educated enough to sign a contract, to have a contract in place, as much as we play wife and husband, but there is no contract in place. We just live together and assume that this is my wife or this is my husband. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you, Precious. Anybody else? Anybody, students, just give it a try. Lisedi Rakosa. Lisedi?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Lisedi.
According to my understanding,
Okay, we can't hear you now, Lesedi.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you clearly now.
Okay. According to my understanding, I believe that life partnerships, it's like two people living together, cohabiting together, and then according to the law, it's not legally recognized, but there are certain rules that protect them as they are together and staying together and cohabiting together.
Okay, thank you for that, Lesedi. Life partnership refers to uh, two individuals, or if there are those who believe in a polygamous life partnership, it also applies to them. Is when lovers live together live together unmarried, but in a marriage-like relationship. They do everything as if they are married partners or as if they are married spouses, but they have not followed the process that lead either to a civil marriage, to a civil union, or to a customary marriage. It is commonly known as cohabitation or fat and set and other terms, ukipita and all of that. Ne? At the present moment, there is no legislation that gives legal recognition to unmarried partners, but there are certain piecemeal rights. There are certain piecemeal rights that they get. Piecemeal rights basically means certain rights that they get here, like for example, through the Pension Act, the Pension Act, and also the GPF, the Government Employees Pension Act. Uh, Stipulates that a spouse also refers to a partner in an unmarried relationship. In terms of the medical aid rules, your partner can be included. In terms of the medical aid rules, your partner can be included as your partner, but not necessarily as your spouse, and you include them there. But the relationship at the present moment does not have a legislation that governs it, and it is not legally recognized. There are two ways in which unmarried partners can get legal recognitions which can be protected by the courts. The first one is if the unmarried parties enter into a cohabitation or a life partnership agreement. Any one of you, can you just explain when I talk about a cohabitation agreement or a partnership agreement, what am I talking about? Have you ever heard? Have you ever heard of a partnership agreement, or are you maybe in a cohabitation or in a life partnership relationship, and you and your partner have entered into a partnership agreement? When we talk about partnership agreement, what are we talking about? Precious Ndlovu, is your hands up? Precious, please unmute yourself.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, Precious.
Yes, I think we don't put that in place. I think we don't have an education, like we're not educated enough around that as much as like we read about it on the books. As black people, I know my uncle who stayed with his wife for 30 years, and they had never had any agreement or contract in place. Yeah, I've never heard of it.
Okay,
Thanks, ma'am.
let's just correct you. You just said your uncle stayed with his wife for 30 years or so, but they've never been married. You know, there is usually uh, a false belief or that if you stay with your partner for a certain period, that relationship will automatically be turned into a marriage. And the partners will start calling themselves husband and wife, and people and even family members will view them as being married. Like, for example, in the the scenario that Precious has just told us about. She refers to the female partner as the wife, but if the parties are not or did not enter into a legally recognized marriage, then the partner cannot be a wife. It's just a partner who is in a cohabitation or in a life partnership agreement. So when we talk about a life partnership, when we talk about life partnership agreement or cohabitation agreement, this is an agreement that is entered into by partners in a cohabitation relationship. Before I continue, let's hear what Kiani wants to say. Kiani, I saw your hand up. Kiani?
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, Kiani, we are listening.
Oh, just correct me if I'm wrong, all right, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
So the cohabitation agreement basically sets out the promises made by both partners to each other, right?
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, I lost you there.
no, I was just saying, just correct me if I'm wrong. So the cohabitation agreement basically sets out the promises made by both partners to each other, meaning the unmarried couples can enter into this agreement while living together or before they move in together, right?
Yes, okay, Kiani. Thank you for your correct. You are correct. A partnership or a cohabitation agreement is when unmarried parties enter into an agreement that will regulate their relationship. In the agreement, they can agree to either share all the assets together, they can agree to give each other a duty of supporting other with they agree that they're going to be financially responsible for each other. For the contract to be legally recognized, it must comply with the rules of all contracts. For example, they must be of age, they must be 18 years and have the capacity to enter into a contract. Secondly, the contract must be lawful. Nobody must have been forced to enter into that contract. And thirdly, none of the parties must be in a legally recognized marriage. You cannot enter into a cohabitation or a life partnership agreement if you are legally married to somebody else, because the cohabitation relationship itself is just going to be null and void. So in a cohabitation agreement, life partnership agreement, the parties can agree on anything as long as it is not against the law and the ordinary rules of contract are complied with. The contract can be written or it can be verbal. With a verbal agreement, it is still valid, but during times of dispute, you're going to, or the partners are going to have difficulty in proving the terms of the agreement. But if the agreement has been drafted, it is in a written document, then it makes it easy for the parties to show. Let's say there's a dispute and the matter has to go to court. It makes it easy for the parties to prove their case in court. So that is a cohabitation agreement, and it is a legal agreement that unmarried parties can enter into. The second aspect is universal partnership. Students, have you ever heard of a universal partnership? And if you have heard of it, or what do you understand when we talk about a universal partnership? We say here are two unmarried parties who are living together, but instead of being in a life partnership, they are in a universal partnership. So any one of you or two or three of you just explain to us, when we talk about universal partnership, what do you understand about this? Anyone? Just give it a try, student. We are here to learn, all of us. Universal partnership, what you understand about it? Have you ever heard of the saying universal partnership in the context of family law, in the context of lovers? Ndogozo, please unmute yourself. Ndogozo, please unmute yourself. Ndogozo. Okay, we have lost Ndogozo. Anybody else? Students? Okay, Kiani?
Okay, ma'am. It's exemplified by the community of property between a husband and wife under Roman Dutch law and the civil law that it's a partnership that includes like all current and future properties of the partners and all the burdens or losses which without the fraud are incurred by either party.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Kiani. Ndogozo, please unmute yourself. Ndogozo, unmute yourself. Ndogozo, I can see your hand is up, but you need to unmute yourself because we are not hearing you. Okay, let's hear Dawn. Dawn, please unmute yourself. Dawn Hatebe.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, who's speaking, Dawn?
It's Dawn.
Okay.
Yes, I've never heard about the universal partnership. Anyway, I don't have anything that I can relate to, but my understanding is, I think it's a partnership that goes beyond the borders of family life, maybe up to the point where they become partners in businesses. That's my understanding, that maybe they become partners in almost everything that they plan to be or they plan to do in their lives.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Students, thank you for your comments. Firstly, I just want to make it clear that universal partnerships, for this session, we are talking about it in the context of life partnership, in the context where unmarried partners live together. Live together. A universal partnership, I can explain it as a mechanism which allows the court to declare unmarried partners to be in a relationship which is more than just a life partnership. It is actually, it is the same like life partnership. They are unmarried, but with this one, the partners have agreed to enter into some kind of contract that gives them more benefit that you do not get if you are just in a life partnership agreement. But again, their relationship is not a marriage. South Africa recognizes two types of universal partnership. The first one is the animus contrahendi. This is where the parties agree that we are going to enter into an agreement whereby we are going to share. Please, can I correct myself? Universal partnership, South Africa recognizes two types of universal partnership. The first one is societal. Is this one, the one that I'm highlighting now? It is societal. It is societal universalis bonoris. This is a universal partnership relating to the present and future assets, liabilities, profits and losses, where the parties agree that we are going to live together and we are going to share everything, the current assets that we have, the current assets that we are still going to have, and any liabilities and any gains that we are going to have, that we are going to acquire while living together. And the second one, society's universal choir X, this one, society's universal ratam choir X, choir S2, renewed. This is a universal partnership that is limited to the sharing of present and future assets, liabilities, profits, and losses that are acquired from a commercial undertaking. Commercial undertaking, like for example, a business and all of that. So the first one, we can say one party will agree that, okay, you will be the, let's say, the house girlfriend, and I will be the one, the male partner will be the one going out working, and how the parties are going to share. The parties are going to share everything is the boyfriend benefits from the domestic roles and duties that are done by the house girlfriend, and the house girlfriend benefits from the finances and the financial gains that the boyfriend brings into the family. And the second one is when they agree that we are going to live together, and over and above the domestic and the romantic duties, we are also going to enter into a business together, and we are going to share everything. Now, the difference between this and the ordinary life partnership is when it comes to the requirement. The first and the most important requirement is the parties must agree that they are going to enter into a universal partnership. And agreeing to enter into a universal partnership can be written or can be tested. In other words, can be through conduct. So the difficulty here is we've got spouses or we've got parties who are in a life partnership, cohabitation, relationship, but their conduct and everything is as if they are in a universal partnership. So there is a thin line between a universal partnership and an ordinary life partnership. For the universal partnership, there are three requirements. Firstly, each party must make a contribution to the partnership. Secondly, the venture or the partnership must be carried out for the benefit of both parties. And thirdly, the objective of the partnership must be to make profit, but the profit need not be commercial. So in other words, let me just give an example whereby we've got a male partner who's working, who is also studying, and the house girlfriend is responsible over and above the domestic duties to make sure that maybe he irons for the boyfriend, he makes sure that the boyfriend has food, and he helps the boyfriend prepare for work. And then if the boyfriend is also studying, he makes sure that the home environment is in such a manner that the boyfriend is able to study without being disturbed, and the result and the success of what the boyfriend will get after working and then studying. In a way, it is seen as a profit that is supposed to be shared, and to be shared by both what we'll call the house girlfriend and the boyfriend. So the profit, in a way, for the house girlfriend will be in that manner, in that whatever you're going to gain from all your successes because of my help, from my side, I will see it as some form of profit which I'm supposed to gain from. Okay, I see there are hands here. Let's start with Nosipiwe Machaba. Nosipiwe Machaba, please unmute yourself.
Morning, ma'am. Sorry, I just
Morning.
needed to check if you maybe had that Word document because we can't see your screen. I'm just checking if you have a screen or not.
Okay, you can. Okay, let me share it again. Okay, I've just shared it. Can you see it now?
I can see the screen.
Can you see
We
it?
can see the screen. Yes, we can.
You can see.
Oh, okay.
I can.
You can't. Okay.
I can't
Nothing.
also.
Oh, okay. But I have just also I uploaded it on my UNISA portal. I
Okay.
uploaded it this morning, so
All
you
right.
can also
100%.
download it from there. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for that. Let's hear Alfred. Alfred Chila. Alfred.
Hello,
Yes, Alfred. We
can
are.
you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, I didn't get it when you explained about the profit that is not to be in a commercial. I got lost there, so can you please clarify again?
Okay. Let me just mute everybody. Okay. The example I'm giving, I said the profit does not have to be commercial. So let's think of this scenario. We've got two lovers whereby they say, the girlfriend, your role will be the house girlfriend, like as in the housewife, but we are the house girlfriend. And me as the male partner, I will go and work and so that I bring money into our home. And over and above that, I will also further my studies so that I improve my chances of getting bonuses and getting a better job. So for me to be able to do this, you, the house girlfriend, you will have to make sure that when I come from work, there's food ready for me, and where I will be studying, the environment will be in such a manner that I won't be disturbed. So if the parties have children, I will be in the study room or in the bedroom studying, and then you will have to look after the children and all of that. So after everything that I have done, whatever I am going to gain from it, the girlfriend can view that as a profit in such a manner that I was also contributing to whatever you were doing, or even if it's business, but if the proceed afterwards, they are not financially or whatever you were undertaking, like as in studying, is not commercial. The result of you studying, I also have to benefit from them. So the profit is not necessarily commercial. When you study, that is not a commercial transaction. But if you study, let's say you further your studies, you do masters, you do MBA, and as a result, you are able to get this job which pays you this high amount. This job which pays you high amount of a salary. So as the house girlfriend, she's also supposed to benefit from there, because that whatever you were doing, studying, in a way should be seen as also a profit for her. I'm not sure if I was able to explain, because I'm just trying to give a scenario of when we talk about a profit which is not from a commercial transaction, and studying was what I think is one of the good examples, because remember, to study, you need to be in an environment which allows you to study. Even if, let's say, you don't study at home, you study in the library, but you know that when you come back at home, there's already food for you, there's already everything. You don't have to do all those duties that you need to do at home. Versus somebody, let's say, now you live alone, and then after studying, you have to make sure that you have to cook, you have to clean your house, you have to do all of those things. So if you do all of those things alone, there is some form of impact on you, versus somebody who has somebody else who does those duties for them. So if you've got somebody, not a domestic worker, a lover, who does those duties for you, and the two of you have agreed, whether through conduct or verbally, expressly, wherever you have agreed that I'm gonna do this and you're gonna do all these domestic duties, and at the end of the day, whatever I am going to gain from all these studies, from my work and everything, we are going to share it equally, because we are in a universal partnership. Also, let me emphasize again that there is a thin line between a universal partnership and your normal life partnership cohabitation, because many parties in a life partnership do the exact conduct processes that are done by parties who are in a universal partnership. So that is why if there is any dispute, whether these parties are in a life partnership or they are in a universal partnership, the matter must be taken to the High Court, and the High Court is the final, will have the final say as to whether the parties are in a universal partnership or they are in a life partnership. Okay, are you okay, Alfred?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Not Devin, sorry, Daniel van Wyk.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, students. Ma'am, just for me to understand it like in layman's terms, basically, as you've explained it, understand a life partnership and a / universal partnership is a lot like a civil union or civil marriage without the recognition of being a civil union and a civil marriage.
Yes. Yeah, they are the same. They are the same, but for universal partnership, there's these three requirements that you must prove. So the challenge is, okay, if let's say there's Daniel and Rose and this Ntabiseng and Tabo, and our relationship is the same, but the two of you are saying we're in a universal partnership, but we are in a life partnership. To tell the difference between the two, it is extremely difficult, because on the face of it, they are the same thing. They are the same thing. But through interrogation, then you just have to show that with you and Rose, it was our agreement that we should be in a universal partnership, because a universal partnership, the consequences of them, I can say in a way, they are as if you are married, because you are going to share everything equally. While in a life partnership, there is no equal sharing of assets. There is no the duty to financially support each other, unless if the parties who are in a life partnership have agreed that we are going to financially support each other, and that agreement they can enter into it without being in a universal partnership.
Okay, 100%. And are they dissolved in the same matter as a or they can't be dissolved the same matter as a civil marriage or civil union?
No, they are not dissolved by a court of law unless if there is a dispute as to whether there is a universal partnership or life partnership. Students, remember, life partnerships are, okay, let me say, life partnerships are not legally recognized. There is no legislation that gives them legal recognition. So unless if there is a specific issue that the court needs to adjudicate on, the parties, much as they agreed to enter into this relationship without following the legal requirements, they themselves must agree on how they are going to separate, and they can do that outside of the court system.
100%. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Kiani, is your hand up or you forgot to remove it? Kiani? Kiani? Okay, Kiani, I'm going to assume that you forgot.
Sorry, ma'am, I forgot to get it.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that, Kiani. So for parties who are in a life partnership, how they can regulate or how they can get piecemeal or some form of legal rights and protection by our courts, they must enter into a legally recognized contract, or secondly, they can be in a universal partnership. Please make sure that you know the requirements to enter into a legally recognized universal partnership, and then the other protection that they can get from court, like if they have agency, or they can use the principle of estoppel, or in a will, they can nominate each other in a will, or one party can bring in a claim for unjustified enrichment. Unjustified enrichment is when somebody has unjustly enriched themselves through your conduct. Yeah? This information, you can also get it in your book. So I did not summarize from agency to unjustified enrichment because this one is easy to understand. The partnership agreement, I just needed to make sure that you understand what we are talking about, and universal partnership, that you also understand what we are talking about. And please remember that there is a thin line between life partnership in its ordinary sense and universal partnership. So before we move on and we talk the difference between life partners who are in a heterosexual relationship and life partners who are in a same-sex relationship, does anybody have any question? Kiani, please remove your hand. Does anybody have any question or any comment? Okay, I'm not seeing any hands. Kiani, please remove your hand. I'm not seeing any hand. Okay. Now, at the present moment, there is a difference between rights that are being given to partners who are in a same-sex relationship and partners who are in a heterosexual relationship. The reason being is same-sex relationships and same-sex marriages were previously not legally recognized. And because of this, there is a landmark constitutional court case judgment that was brought about before the Civil Union Act was passed. The Civil Union Act, which is the legislation that parties who are in a same-sex marriage, if they want to get married, they can only get married in terms of the Civil Union Act. So in the case of Gori versus Kovna, one of the partners had passed away without leaving a will. The surviving partner brought in a court application challenging the rule that partners who are in a same-sex relationship are not given legal recognition. Because of that, they are affected when one partner passes away, they cannot inherit. The Constitutional Court granted same-sex partners the right to inherit interstate from each other's estate. Interstate is when you inherit if there is no will. So the Constitutional Court said same-sex spouses or same-sex partners can inherit from each other in terms of the Interstate Succession Act. Subsequent to this judgment, the Civil Unions Act was passed, but the Constitutional Court, in a recent case, Labusna versus Duplan, they ruled that same-sex partners can still inherit interstate, even though same-sex parties even though same-sex partners are now legally allowed to get married in terms of the Civil Union Act. So this means that if there are lovers, same-sex lovers living together and one party passes away, the surviving party can bring in a claim in terms of the Interstate Succession Act, and their claim will be given or will be approved as long as they can prove that they had agreed to support each other. And proving it does not have to be in writing, but it can be through conduct. But when it comes to heterosexual parties, there is no at the present moment. At the present moment, unmarried heterosexual partners cannot claim from each other interstate. There is a recent court judgment. But for now, it's still the Western Cape High Court, where they declared that it is unconstitutional. They declared it is unconstitutional for parties or for partners in a heterosexual relationship from being denied the right to inherit in terms of the Interstate Succession Act. But this judgment is still waiting for confirmation by the Constitutional Court. So, as things stand now, if you are in a same-sex life partnership and your partner passes away, and while he or she was alive, the two of you were supporting each other, you qualify from inheriting in terms of the Interstate Succession Act. But if you are in a heterosexual relationship at the present moment, you do not qualify from inheriting in terms of the Interstate Succession Act. Students, do you understand what I've just explained now? But before you tell me if you understand or not, I just want to hear from you guys. We know that in South Africa, if you want to get married, there are certain rights and consequences that come with being married. And one of those is if your spouse passes away without a will, you are going to automatically inherit from their estate. So what is your view or your opinion with regard to life partners or partners in a cohabitation relationship to now be given the right to inherit from each other interstate, even though they did not get married to each other? Let's assume that they never agreed to enter into a universal partnership, but by just living together, they were just not helping each other. They conducted themselves as if they are married and they did everything together equally. Do you think it is fair, and the Constitution should now extend the right to inherit interstate to lovers who are now living together unmarried? Okay, let me just hear your view on this. Your view on rights which are now being given to parties. who made the decision that we do not want to get married, should they be given the same rights and obligations as married spouses? Okay, let's talk students. Anybody? Precious Ndlovu? Precious? Precious, please unmute yourself. Precious, unmute yourself.
Hi, ma'am.
Yes, Precious.
Yes, I think they shouldn't be given the equal rights because they did not sign anything. There is no agreement. There is no will. There is no contract signed in place. Yeah, so they don't carry that much weight given the legal perspective. And with the ones who are married, legally married, I think they should earn more. There is more weight to it. Yeah, there is
Okay.
more responsibility. There is more consequences than in a partnership where, I think so. That's my
Okay.
opinion. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Precious. Daniel? Daniel?
Hi, man. Yeah, we're talking about interstate succession now.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
any person is allowed to make a will, right? Well,
Yes.
if the life partners are living together and partner A decides he wants to make a will and he wants to put partner B in that will, that is allowed, isn't it? So then,
Yes.
as a matter of fact, that partner will then inherit, not in, how can I put it? You will inherit with a valid will, not like without a will, interstate.
Okay, basically, Daniel, what you're saying is life partners,
Interstate,
cohabitants, they should not be given the right to inherit interstate, because if you, let's say the deceased partner wanted their surviving partner to inherit it, they would have left a will and nominated them in the will.
Yeah, then they would have inherited testate instead of interstate.
Yes, okay. Thank you for that. Ndogozo, you have been raising your hand, but you don't unmute yourself. Ndogozo, okay, thank you, Ndogozo.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can talk.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Can
hear
you hear
you.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, ma'am. I think they should definitely be recognized legally. They should have the same right as those that are in that partnership, because at the end of the day, they're gonna have children, and there's gonna be a will. So there's gonna be a lot of confusion if they are not legally recognized. So I think they should be given the same right as those who are in that partnership.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Ndogozo. Ntakanipo, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the opportunity. My viewpoint is that there are different alternatives to getting married. So, if maybe your challenge is monetary, then you can just go to the to the relevant place where people getting married and sign that document of marriage. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, I can hear you. I was saying to sign or to get married, you wanted to say the Department of Home Affairs.
Yes, to get married is without incurring a lot of debt. If people are scared of debt or they don't afford this thing of just giving a right of married people when you are not yet married will demotivate those who want to get married, and they will not see any purpose of getting married. So, and another aspect is that of a civil union and of a same partner and the same sex, and the heterosexual. Those one, I think, those of same sex partners should be struck out because there is a provision for them now, and it will equal the playing field. Because if they will open a path for the heterosexual to have the same benefit, it will escalate in such a way which no one will have that desire of getting married. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you for your opinion. And Taganipo, let's hear from, just wait, no longer. Okay, I'm now no longer, okay, here it is. Let's hear from Lungisani. Lungisani? Lungisani, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. I want to check something here. So someone said here, if you want to, in this life partnership, we don't have anything like agreement written down, signing in the front of the oath or going to Department of Home Affairs. You just agree to your partner wherever you are, or there's a process that we must follow.
No. Life partnership, we commonly know it as cohabitation. Ne? There is no agreement that the parties can enter into. The parties are encouraged to enter into a life partnership agreement, a cohabitation agreement, which will regulate their relationship. But that is done by the two of them and then with the attorney. But there is no legal obligation for them to go to Home Affairs or to any other institution to enter into the partnership. In other words, there are no set legal requirements to enter into a life partnership. It's just two adults who decides that let's live together and conduct ourselves in a marriage-like relationship, while legally they are not married.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nyaleti, please unmute yourself. Nyaleti? Okay, let's move along. Jabulani, please unmute yourself.
I wanted to agree with Ntogozo in respect of persons who are in life partnerships or partnerships, universal partnerships, or even cohabitation, to be given the same rights as any other person who's in a marriage or such arrangements, as long as they can prove elements of dependency, for instance. Or there should be no reason to discriminate against such individuals. I mean, people go into arrangements knowing they should go into those arrangements knowing pretty well what is it that they are doing and what are the implications in the event of either the dissolution or even death. That's my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Jabulani. Nyaleti, please unmute yourself. We can't hear you, Nyaleti. Nyaleti, I see you've unmuted yourself, but I can't hear you. Nyaleti?
Hello.
Yes, you can talk, Nyaleti.
Okay. I think that life partnership, people in life partnership also deserve to be recognized as the other people who are legally married, since they have the right to draw up wills where they can speculate how they want their partnership to be. So they have the rights to write in their wills that each one of them has the right to inherit whatever they will have accumulated together, or in a will or in a joint will, even though they are not it's not a legal requirement, but I think they do deserve to be recognized like this, the married people.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Millicent? Millicent, please unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity and good afternoon, the fellow students. So I think that the people who are in life partnership, they should also inherit, because think about it like this. We've been living together for plus minus 4 years. And then we've been doing everything together. We've been building together. So now that you passed away, I can't inherit. It's not like I was not contributing anything. So they should be able to contribute. Also, I think they should also put restrictions for life partners to inherit from their other partners. At least the restriction should be like they should be living together for at least 2 years or 3 years. And then also they should, because now that we are inheriting, should I also in a situation where I do not pass away, but we living together, and then I inquire debts, right? So you should be also held liable, because why would you want to inherit when I pass away? But should I inquire debts or anything, you do not want to help. You just want to like, no, we're not married, so I'm not responsible for that. That is my opinion.
Okay, thank you, Millicent. You've just raised something important, which I see on the comments. Some students are raising, which is, but how long should the parties be living together? Because at the present moment, when it comes to same-sex life partners who are given the right to inherit interstate, there is no time period. So if, let's say, the parties decided to live together from in January 2021, and they started doing everything together, and then now in October, one of the parties passes away. If, as the court judgment has said, that you just need to prove that the two of you had agreed to support each other. So if a partner can prove that, which is something easy to prove, then it means they have the right to inherit interstate. So this is a very interesting, again, something that needs to be looked at as to how long must the parties be living together, because is living together 6 months enough for the other to inherit interstate, or should they be living together for at least 2 years or 3 years? And also, when it comes to the contribution, what kind of contribution are we talking about? Yes, legally, domestic roles, domestic duties are taken into account, and they should be taken into account, because they contribute a lot in helping the other party to actually also help in improving their life, in making sure that they get enough income from their place of work, or to get better jobs, because there is somebody else who's attending to their other needs. So thank you for that, Millicent. Let's hear what the others are going to say. I'm going to give an opportunity to those who have not said anything. For example, Veronica. Veronica, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, ma'am. How are you?
We are okay, Veronica.
I just wanted to get clarity. Say people, they get engaged and then they are in sort of like a form of cohabitation for quite some time. They never formalize the marriage, and there was no lobola or anything paid. And then should one person dies, are they also treated as being cohabitating, or?
Yes, that's a cohabitation, and also that is not, will never be recognized as a universal partnership. This is because when you are fiancé and fiancée, when you are engaged, you agree that you want to enter into a marriage. And engagement is a promise the parties do to each other, or make to each other, that we are going to enter into a marriage. But up until they enter into the marriage, they remain single individuals. And let's say a partner wants to bring in, brings in a court case claiming that I need to be given 50% of the late estate or the benefit, and me and the late were in a universal partnership. They are going to their case is not going to succeed, because one of the requirements of a universal partnership is the parties must have agreed to enter into a universal partnership. So theirs will just be nothing but unmarried lovers who were living together in a life partnership relationship, and they had promised each other to get married. So it is not legally recognized, and they are only going to get whatever piecemeal rights that they get in terms of the law. For example, if the partner passed away in a road accident and the surviving was financially dependent on the deceased, then in terms of the court judgment, they can bring in a claim for loss of support. but they cannot, if they are in a heterosexual life partnership, they cannot inherit interstate. But if they are in a same-sex life partnership, they can inherit interstate.
Okay.
So the cool thing, the key thing here is fiance. So the best thing is if you're going to get engaged and get married. The challenge is people like to their matters to remain hanging. They start something and they just leave it in between and just in between without going forward, without finalizing or without even canceling the engagement. And then when death occurs or when the parties separate, there are now complications because they were life partners at the same time, they were just engaged to be married.
But this, ma'am, is it not discriminating against heterosexual people?
It is discriminating. Hence, the Western Cape judgment in the Bwana case, they said that it is unconstitutional to discriminate the heterosexuals while you are giving the right to the same sex. But at the present moment, we are waiting for the Constitutional Court to confirm the unconstitutionality and to add in the ways that also heterosexual life partners can now inherit interstate. Up until that period, heterosexuals cannot inherit. Again, let me emphasize that with the same sex, the reason why they were given protection is because the judgment, the Constitutional Court judgment was made before the Civil Act, and the judgment said that even subsequent legislation is not going to change the rights that are already given to same-sex spouses. Hence, with the enactment of the Civil Union Act, that right was never taken away. So maybe this also begs the question, or this brings us to the question as to whether must this right be taken away from the same-sex parties, so that if you are unmarried, you should not inherit interstate, or must this right be extended to the heterosexual, so that whether you are in a legally recognized marriage or whether you are in a legally recognized life partnership where you are not a fiance and where you were financially dependent, or you and the deceased had agreed that you are going to support each other, can they that right to inherit interstate must actually also be given to them. Understand? So it is a difficult situation because with our constitution, everybody needs to be, nobody's supposed to be discriminated against. So if partners have decided that we are going to live together and married because we do not want the marriage laws to affect us, but because we are individuals, we are also citizens in South Africa, the laws also need to give us some form of protection. If I was financially dependent on my boyfriend and he passes away, why shouldn't I inherit interstate? Why must it only be married spouses who gets to inherit? Are we going to discriminate now between those who are married and those who are not married, even though our relationships are the same? Understand? So it is quite an interesting thing, but at the present moment, what you need to know, especially for the purpose of your exam, is that there is currently a differentiation between the heterosexual life partners and the heterosexual and the same-sex life partners. The same-sex life partners are currently given more protection, and the heterosexuals are not given that protection that they get. Yeah? Before I take just 2 or 3 hands before we close, this summary I have uploaded them, and you will see that I have also summarized the cases. Please know these cases just know briefly what they are about to, because you can get some of them in your exam. These are the cases which actually give life partners some certain rights, and then in the summary I've just stated that in this case this is the right that the partners have been given in this case, and this is the right that the partners have been given. Yeah. Okay, students, I see that today's topic was a very interesting one, because it has aspects that, you know, some of you find them interesting, and also again the differentiation between the heterosexuals and the same-sex spouses bring what is it? We can see that, you know what, there is unfairness that is currently that individuals are currently actually encountering, and up until the Constitutional Court give a way forward on this, unfortunately for the heterosexuals parties, they will not inherit interstate, or until the Constitutional Court confirm the judgment of the Western Cape High Court. The heterosexual life partners will not inherit interstate. So for now, I will just take 3 questions. I apologize for the other hands. I will just take 3 questions, and we're going to end these sessions. We will meet again next week, where we will be talking about domestic violence. So for now, I will just take, I'm just looking for somebody who has never had an opportunity to talk.
A quick one, ma'am.
Who's talking?
It's Precious. Wait, ma'am. I want to ask something. Will the exam need an invigilator app?
Okay, no. The PVL2601, there won't be an invigilator app.
Okay, it's gonna be a multiple choice format.
Yes, it's a multiple choice, random question. So in other words, please study everything, and it's an open book. So although it's an open book, just make sure that you study thoroughly, and then just maybe when you are studying, just have a notebook where you know that this section is on which page, this section is on which page, so that when you see a question, it's going to be easy for you to quickly go to that page, and then just try and look for the answer which is being asked.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
so much.
Sorry, ma'am.
Who's speaking now?
It's Ntokozo. Sorry,
Okay,
ma'am.
Ntokozo.
Is it possible for us to get this recording, or is just for today? Or
No, the recording will be shared, will be uploaded, and I'm not sure if you were with us when we started the session. I did explain that at the present moment we are having a challenge whereby some recordings, they need me to grant access. So we are busy with IT to try and grant universal access, so that you don't have to keep on sending an email to me. But at the present moment, if you're going to the recordings are on the My UNISA portal under additional resources. If there's a recording that you cannot access, please send me a message, then I will grant you that access. I also sent an announcement in the morning just to say that the announcement has my email address, and I'm informing you that whatever difficulties that you are encountering with recordings, please send me an email, and I will grant you access to the recordings.
thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Students, I apologize. Daniel, Nomsa, Millicent, Nyeleti, Lungisani, Spongisani, Alfred, and Kian, I apologize. I'm unable to take your calls. Yes, I'm able to accept you now to listen to your questions. Students, that brings us to the end of today's session. Thank you for participating. It was an interesting session. If you have any queries, please feel free to send me an email. We shall see each other again next week. Good luck with your studying. Good luck with the exam, and have a good day ahead. Thank you, students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am.